Welcome to this video on pragmatism. I'm Andrew Chapman. I'm a professor of philosophy, and I'll be your guide. In addition to this video, I've also created a handout covering the contents of this video and put that link in the description. It may be helpful to have the handout in front of you as you watch the video. The handout also contains 10 review questions covering the content of this video to check your understanding. And now on to pragmatism. Pragmatism is a philosophical tradition that emerged in the United States in the late 19th and early 20th centuries, grounded in the idea that the meaning and truth of ideas are best determined by their practical consequences. Rather than seeking knowledge as a mere reflection of an unchanging reality, pragmatists hold that beliefs and theories should be tested against lived experience and tangible outcomes. If a proposition leads to workable results and helps solve problems, then it is true insofar as it remains useful. This view rejects the notion of absolute truths existing independently of human activity, and instead focuses on the dynamic interplay between thought, experience, and action. By examining what happens when an idea is applied in real-world contexts, pragmatism offers a flexible, outcome-oriented framework for understanding the world and guiding human conduct. Pragmatism arose at a time of dramatic social, scientific, and industrial transformation in the United States. During the late 19th century, the nation was rapidly industrializing, with new technologies, expanding urban centers, and shifting economic structures changing the fabric of society. Traditional philosophical systems that dwelled on abstract or metaphysical questions seemed ill-equipped to address these urgent and often concrete challenges. Early pragmatists, therefore, insisted that philosophy must remain relevant and offer practical solutions to real problems. They drew on elements of empiricism and critical philosophy, adapting these earlier insights to emphasize the continual testing and revision of ideas in response to new evidence. By insisting that truth must be discovered and refined through active engagement with the world, they helped inaugurate a distinctly American way of doing philosophy, one that was intimately tied to the social and scientific upheavals of its time. Charles Sanders Peirce is widely viewed as the founder of pragmatism. That's pronounced Peirce despite the fact that it looks like Pierce. A logician, scientist, and semiotician, Peirce introduced fallibilism, which states that any belief, no matter how deeply held, is open to doubt and subject to revision in light of new evidence. He believed truth emerges over time through collective inquiry, guided by experimentation and rational debate. Peirce also formulated what's known as the pragmatic maxim, which argues that to clarify the meaning of a concept, one should consider all potential practical effects that could stem from its truth. William James played a major role in popularizing pragmatism, drawing on his background in psychology and philosophy to highlight the individual and experiential sides of human belief. He held that ideas are useful when they improve life or help people cope with challenges. In his work, Pragmatism, a new name for some old ways of thinking, James showed how long-standing metaphysical disputes could be resolved or dissolved by considering their practical consequences rather than abstract speculation. John Dewey extended pragmatic principles to education and social reform, arguing that knowledge arises from active problem-solving in real-life contexts. In his work, Democracy and Education, he laid out his vision for a progressive education system that emphasizes experiential learning and critical thinking. Dewey believed that students should learn through hands-on activities, collaboration, and reflection, thereby preparing them for the demands of democratic citizenship. Pragmatism defines truth and meaning in terms of concrete outcomes, asserting that ideas are valuable insofar as they guide effective action. This stance holds that knowledge is never final but remains subject to continuous revision, since changing circumstances and new information can alter our understanding at any time. Because of its anti-essentialist view, pragmatism rejects the idea that concepts possess fixed essences, arguing instead that meanings emerge from how we use ideas to navigate our experience and solve problems. Pragmatism also stresses the interconnectedness of thought and action, maintaining that beliefs cannot be separated from the practical behaviors and consequences that they inspire. In this way, pragmatism sees the process of validating a belief as an ongoing cycle of action, observation, revision, and further action. Pragmatism has influenced numerous fields, including education, where Dewey's ideas about experiential learning and problem solving have shaped modern pedagogical methods. Teachers adopting a pragmatic outlook often encourage collaboration, critical thinking, and hands-on projects to help students become active participants in their own learning. In legal theory, pragmatism informs the idea that judges and lawyers should pay attention to the practical outcomes of legal decisions in society, thereby steering legal practice away from rigid formalism. In politics, pragmatism underscores the need for flexible, evidence-based policies that can be adapted as situations evolve. It also informs ethical reasoning by suggesting that moral principles be tested against their actual effects on human well-being. In this manner, pragmatism guides decision-makers to focus on what truly works to enhance social good, rather than on fixed ideals divorced from real-world contexts. Within pragmatism, significant debate centers on whether practical outcomes can fully define truth or whether this stance risks collapsing into subjectivism. Some pragmatists, following Peirce, emphasize a communal understanding of truth that relies on converging scientific inquiry over time, while others, following James, stress individual experience and personal utility. Another debate concerns pragmatism's stance towards realism, with some thinkers contending that pragmatism's emphasis on practical consequences borders on anti-realism, whereas others argue that it can be reconciled with the existence of a mind-independent reality. Additionally, differences between classical pragmatists such as Peirce, James, and Dewey, and neo-pragmatists such as Richard Rorty, Hilary Putnam, and Robert Brandom highlight whether the movement should continue seeking firm epistemological foundations at all, or instead abandon the notion of objective truth in favor of social solidarity and cultural critique. Critics of pragmatism often charge that its emphasis on what works may lead to relativism or justify questionable means for favorable ends. Pragmatists respond that they advocate an ongoing, rigorous process of inquiry that eventually discards harmful or mistaken ideas and promotes socially beneficial practices. Another criticism holds that pragmatism downplays the importance of abstract or theoretical pursuits. Pragmatists counter that they do not dismiss theory outright, but seek to integrate it with practice, maintaining that abstract ideas are valuable when they contribute to concrete problem-solving and foster innovation. Still others fear that pragmatism's instrumentalism may undermine moral integrity. Pragmatists generally address this by pointing to the necessity of long-term, inclusive considerations, insisting that decisions should be judged not only on immediate utility, but also on their broader social and ethical ramifications. Pragmatism exerts influence in areas as diverse as psychology, where it gave rise to functionalism by focusing on mental processes as adaptations to the environment. It has found its way into anthropology and sociology, where researchers examine how social practices and cultural norms function to address evolving human needs. In business and management, pragmatism shapes methods such as agile development and design thinking, which involve iterative testing and refining solutions based on user feedback. It also plays a part in environmental studies, supporting sustainability initiatives that balance ecological protections with practical benefits for human communities. In technology and design, pragmatic principles manifest in product development strategies that rely on prototypes, real-world testing, and consistent updates to meet changing user demands. Pragmatism remains a vital philosophy in modern discourse. It has been revived and reshaped by neo-pragmatists like Richard Rorty, who urge a departure from the pursuit of foundational truths in favor of shared values and social progress. This updated form of pragmatism opens new avenues in epistemology and ethics, underscoring how language, community, and culture influence our sense of what is real. Meanwhile, educators, policymakers, and entrepreneurs continue to draw from pragmatic ideas as they grapple with unprecedented challenges, from technological upheavals to environmental crises. In each case, the pragmatic willingness to adapt, experiment, and revise endures as a compelling framework for problem solving. Pragmatism's imprint on American thought and global intellectual life is profound. It has significantly shaped educational practices, emphasizing active learning and critical inquiry, and it has steered legal and political theory toward greater attention to the practical effects of judicial and legislative decisions. By challenging conventional notions of truth as fixed or absolute, pragmatism opened a dialogue that spans analytic philosophy, existentialism, and postmodernism. It has also proven relevant to international concerns, informing approaches to complex social and environmental problems that benefit from flexible, context-sensitive strategies. Through its insistence on tying theories to lived outcomes and incorporating continuous feedback from real-world experiences, pragmatism remains a fertile source of innovation across many spheres of knowledge and action. In conclusion, pragmatism stands out as a philosophy that evaluates the truth of beliefs based on their effectiveness in practical contexts. Rooted in the work of Peirce, James, and Dewey, it treats knowledge as provisional and evolving, shaped by ongoing engagement with real-world challenges. By centering on outcomes and promoting adaptability, pragmatism offers a resilient framework for coping with the uncertainties of modern life. Its continued relevance across disciplines such as education, law, politics, business, and technology underscores the enduring power of its core principle, that ideas are meaningful only when tested, refined, and applied to enhance the human experience.